Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media, and we are really honored to have on the show with us today return appearance for Betzy Lynch. She's the CEO of the Lawrence Family Jewish Community Center, joined by her colleague Adam Nicoli, Senior Director of Partnerships. And before we get started, our hearts go out to you, Betzy and Adam, your entire center, and all the connections you have in Israel.
Thank you so much. The Jewish community is heartbroken, and the feelings that we have about our brothers, sisters, and siblings in Israel right now is it's really hard to separate ourselves even at all.
Right, and I know you folks had a vigil, and what are things you're doing specifically on those just horrific events that transpired a little while ago?
Within 48 hours, we knew that the community would need to be together. You know, when we've had other moments, obviously, in Jewish history in which we've had this combination of both feeling helpless and hopeless at the same time. And this one is unprecedented and different than any, and certainly in my lifetime and definitely in Adam's. And we knew that the only way, there's nothing that we could do to change the helplessness, but we could potentially, by bringing people together, bring a little bit of hope.
Yeah, you know, I've been certainly very much tied to the Jewish family, as you well know. Got bar mitzvah in 1968 when they were still running water, and so forth. Listen, whether you're from a Jewish heritage, it doesn't make a difference. Okay, there are just so many people that are just so connected to Israel and the people, and for 75,000 different reasons in this area. So it's not just a Jewish thing, you know. It's a world thing in this aspect of it. So just know that whatever we can do at Cloudcast Media, whatever we can do on this show. If we need to do some special shows from the center that to amplify some voices or whatever, we're there shoulder to shoulder. You just let us know.
Thank you.
And I couldn't agree more. I myself am a leader within the Jewish communal space, but also I'm not Jewish. And the JCC really does stand as an organization that celebrates the power of Jewish life, but that's open to anyone who identifies as Jewish, but who also is non-Jewish as well. That was on great display during the vigil that we had on Tuesday, where we had close to 5,000 people come to the JCC to mourn, and then also to show unity and strength and solidarity with the state of Israel. Many people who attended were not Jewish, were also from the interfaith community. And I think that created a wonderful space, and that unity will need to be able to continue, especially in the wake of this terrorist attack and the war that will continue.
Yeah, and I think, as you know, probably one of the there's many great things that are going to come out of this horrible tragedy. I really do believe that. And I'm not sure if it's the optimistic nature in me or whatever. Maybe the foolish nature in me. Maybe it's the Jewish nature in me. I don't know. Whatever it is, you know.
All of the above.
All of the above in this aspect of it. But I think there's going to be some coalescing of very, very interesting partners that have never coalesced before. I think you might even be seeing it in Israel now, obviously, and Netanyahu's got a very different approach to governing, as we've seen in the past, to say the least. But if I'm not mistaken, you could probably answer this better, and then we'll get to really all the cool things that you guys are doing here. But with the centrist government, there is some coalescing, is there not, at this point?
Yeah, I think, you know, tragedy and emergency requires people to put ideological and political, certainly, differences aside in order to respond to an existential threat. And so the responsibility of the government of Israel is to protect its people, regardless of how they affiliate with political views. And that's what's happened. In addition, I would say that part of the reason that we had the response from the community beyond our Jewish community that we did is because of the work that has been seeded by our JCC and other fabulous organizations, but in particular our J. We have a partnership with the Turkish school. They come and they do their work at the JCC on the weekends. And one of the first messages I got, even before some of my Jewish colleagues, was from them, saying that they were heartbroken, that the JCC is their home, and if there was anything that they could do to support and help us, that they wanted to. That little bit of light from people that could just see their own humanity in this face of evil was so deeply powerful. And that actually happens at the JCC, even on a regular day.
Well, we're chatting with Betzy Lynch, who's the CEO of the Lawrence Family Jewish Community Center, joined by our colleague Adam Nicoli, Senior Director of Partnerships for the center. It's in your DNA. It's always been in your DNA, not your DNA personally, which is both you and Adam, but in the center's DNA. It's always been there. Larry Lawrence was in his DNA, probably Larry Lawrence's great-great-great-great-grandparents, or when his family was starting to walk upright, for God's sake. And so that's what it is. So it's not a shock to folks who have been anywhere working with you. People know that you'll take them all. You'll take one, all. Doesn't Martian, polka dot, doesn't make a difference. You know, Palace doesn't make a difference.
That's right.
We're all here together. You hang your hat on so many wonderful things: literacy, food distribution, you name it. Care and all that. So I think you guys are a treasure, certainly for San Diego County. And maybe you can talk a little bit about the mission of the center, if you could, Betzy.
Our primary goal is to do three things, which is to connect people to themselves. And people do that in a whole bunch of ways, whether that's through education, whether that's through recreation, whether that's through arts and culture. Our second goal is to connect people to each other. Our business is to build community. And certainly over the last, I would say even decade, the necessity for us to bring people with diverse backgrounds together to learn from each other and actually find a place for civility has been a really nuanced and important piece of our work. And the last part, which is the primary and sole goal that I do this work, is to connect people to Jewish life. And I'm not talking just people of Jewish faith. I'm also talking about the world. Jewish community centers were founded, it's over 100 years ago now, for the purposes of settling new Jewish immigrants into America. Our job was to teach them how to be American. Over 100 years later, we're actually kind of doing a full 360, which is we're actually teaching Americans how to be Jewish. Because even Jewish Americans, many of which, because religiosity in our country has been diminished over the decades, we're giving them the opportunity to experience both the culture of being Jewish, and this is the complexity of being Jewish. Adam spends a lot of time talking to people of other faiths and no faith about that being Jewish isn't a religion. It's a culture, and that every kind of person can be Jewish, every ethnicity, because of the nature by which we've lived in exile from Israel for so many years, and we've adapted to the cultures in which the people left and went to. And so by the nature of that, you can't walk into the JCC and assume who is Jewish and who isn't. There are people of color that are clearly Jewish. There are people who have Asian background that are clearly Jewish. And above all, people still choose to be Jewish. And that is a whole nother complexity that really makes being Jewish so different than any other religious culture. So our goal is to share the gift and the joy that it is to be Jewish. Because the likelihood without this level of engagement that you would meet a Jewish person is very, very small. There's 15 million Jewish people that live in the whole world. 7 million live in Israel. 7 million living in the United States, with about 4 in Charles's neck of the woods in New York.
Right.
The rest of us are sort of sprinkled around other parts of North America. And then there's 1 million Jews that are sprinkled in all the other places in the world.
Right.
This is actually what helps feed anti-Semitism, because if you can never meet the person and meet the people, so our work is to not only have the people come to the J, and Adam will share a whole lot more about this, but also to be in the community, to share Jewish experience. And our goals are so that they can just understand the joy that it is to be Jewish.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we're chatting with Betzy Lynch, CEO of Lord's Family Jewish Community Center, joined by Adam Nicoli, Senior Director of Partnerships. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, now the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 17th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, broadcasting in these beautiful Mission Fed studios here in Scripps Ranch and Mission Fed, as Betzy had said earlier, for 60 plus years, just do great things in this community. So Adam, your job is to work on partnerships, and there's a lot of partnerships out there that you work with. Talk about that.
There are a lot of partnerships that we work with. Really, it's a wonderful variety of partnerships that we work with in the Jewish communal space, but also in the secular space as well, across the entire county of San Diego. And as Betzy said, the opportunity to share Jewish culture and Jewish life is of the utmost importance, especially as a way to combat anti-Semitism. Really now, any day, but especially in the darkest moment, really, it's really about our community cannot be insular at this time. It's really about being expansive. So we have worked with a number of partners. Really, the idea of the JCC is not a brick and mortar institution, but it's really about creating community and creating connections in any neighborhood where there is Jewish life. And really our goal is to fortify and strengthen that community. So we work in solidarity with a number of different partners to do so. Really the Federation.
Sure. So we work with Jewish organizations, and then we have partnerships as like local libraries that work with us to bring Jewish education and Jewish life into their spaces. We bring arts and cultural programming. We have a beautiful partnership that's unfolding with the San Diego International Film Festival to share Holocaust films, because we want to make sure that people know and understand this history. Adam has had a depth of partnership with from arts and cultural organizations, from actually we have a synagogue that actually functions and works from the JCC, our Israeli-American partners.
And I think our Israeli-American partners, especially, I want to take a moment to shine a spotlight on that. We work hand in hand with, we have two main residential partners, as Betzy mentioned. We do have a Congregation Dor Hadash, which is housed out of the JCC, but also within our library, the offices of the Israeli-American Council. We've worked with them within a number of capacities to launch a Hebrew language library at the JCC, to bring a lot of their programs that are focused on youth and also connecting with their community members, really that transforming the JCC as a space for Israeli Americans. And we're excited that this has happened really before this moment. And this moment even sort of shines a spotlight on the need for this, and we'll be doing much more in the present moment and the future to invest in our relationships with our Israeli-American colleagues.
And when we come back from break, I want to hit on that point, Adam, and you too, Betzy, been thinking about that. Certainly moving forward from this horrible terroristic attack, and that's what it was. What can our listeners do? Think about this. What can our listeners do to, support the great work you're doing at the center? Which you've been doing great work for 78 years, if I'm doing my math right.
Yeah.
Got my math right on this thing here. See, and more importantly, how do we get more folks engaged? As you talked about, it's not the time to be insular. It's time to be the exact opposite of that. Is to be out there. So think about those things when we return with Betzy Lynch, CEO of the Lawrence Family Jewish Community Center, joined by Adam Nicoli, the center's Senior Director of Partnerships, and just doing great work reaching out to so many different disparate groups in our community. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and we're going to be right back with another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community show, here brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We'll be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 17th year. We are broadcasting here at the Mission Fed Studios in Scripps Ranch. Mission Fed been doing great things in our community for more than 60 years. Honored to have in the studio with us today Betzy Lynch, CEO of Lawrence Family Jewish Community Center, joined by her Director of Partnerships, Adam Nicoli. So, we were chatting about this in the first part. Can't talk about it enough. This is not the time to be insular. It's the time to be out there. What does that mean?
Historically, unfortunately, there have been many, many times in Jewish history in which people have been victims of terror and murder. The most recent occurrence in Israel is an unprecedented time in modern Jewish history, is certainly in the existence of the state of Israel and what I like to call the golden age of Jewish life, in which most people living around the globe have access to anything anyone else would. This is a different moment and a different time. And in saying that, typically in crises like this, it's typical for the Jewish community to become more insular and stay only within each other because that makes them potentially feel safe. And in this moment, because of the nature of the magnitude and gravity of both the horrific massacre that occurred on Simchat Torah on October 7th and the ensuing war that is upon us, this is the moment in which our Jewish community and really people of other faiths and no faith need to stand with us together in Jewish experience and be overtly Jewish and actively participate in Jewish life in ways and invite people in, because this we cannot allow. This is exactly what the terrorists that have created this moment, that's what they're hoping to do. And this is an existential moment for the future of not only Jewish life in Israel, but everywhere.
With that question with it. And as I mentioned before, what do I know, for God's sake? I'm just a podcaster for 17 years. That's it. Well, I'm a little bit more than that, I hope. But I think it is. I think it's going to surprise people how many people are behind, the Jewish faith and Israel. They just have not been verbal about it. They'll be verbal. They'll be more than verbal. They'll actually be doing some action in this aspect of it. And I know you use Betzy, and of course now I'm meeting you, Adam, for the first time, and what JCC has been doing since its inception. You got millions of other things you're going to be working on. You're not stopping your food delivery. You're not stopping your literacy. You're not stopping X, Y, and Z. That still forges on. Talk about that.
we have a very robust early childhood education program. We have after school programming. We run camps when there is no school. We have recreational programming. We do a whole program that Adam's team works deeply on, which is our JCC Cares project, which is we're activating our Jewish community to go and do work for not only Jewish organizations, but all organizations to just bring light and repair to the world. All of these things, we have a very robust arts and culture program. We have a film festival. We do live theater. We have a youth theater program. All of these things, the most important thing that we can do in this moment is continue all of the components of the things that we do for Jewish life.
That's right.
And invite others to do it with us. And we've always been doing that, but the overt nature in which you're having those Jewish experiences. So as an example, this weekend, we're hosting our Shorts Film Festival. And on Saturday afternoon, we're having Shabbat experience related to watching actually some Israeli filmmakers that made these films. So we're celebrating the best of Israel, and we're together as a community and celebrating Shabbat. And these are the ways that we connect people to Jewish life that isn't necessarily from a religious perspective, but the opportunity for gathering and feeling the warmth of the gift of Shabbat and the separation between the mundane work of the week and the holiness of the Saturday.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought it up. We had Tanya Mantooth sitting where you were a couple of weeks ago. Tanya, of course, is the Venerable and Inimitable, I like to use that one too, CEO of the San Diego International Film Festival. We were talking about some of the films that you were mentioning as well. I'll start with you on this, Adam. What can our listeners do to help support your efforts at the center? Obviously in the millions of things you're doing right now, and of course during this very difficult time.
Of course. So as Betzy was just mentioning, this sort of laundry list and suite of amazing programs and opportunities, I was struck by just the vibrancy of Jewish life that sort of emanates from the JCC and that exists across San Diego County. One of the best ways for your listeners or anyone really to get involved right now with Jewish life, I do want to shine a spotlight on a Jewish peoplehood initiative called Shabbat San Diego, which is taking place at the beginning of November 2nd through the 5th. It's an amazing opportunity for people to really connect with Jewish life and Jewish culture through the vehicle of Shabbat. And Shabbat will show up in many ways throughout that weekend. Mainly, we'll be having a Shabbat market outside of the JCC, so you can stop by and get whatever you need to prepare for Shabbat at your home. We're also calling on all of our community members to really experience Shabbat and how they would like to, really opening their doors to be able to host Shabbat dinners for friends, connections, even invite someone who might not be of the Jewish faith and into your home, and really as a way that's something you can do within your community to be proud of who you are, be proud of your background, and also to take a stand against anti-Semitism in a small but also meaningful way. And really all of those building blocks, people might be doing something small in their own personal way. All that's going to build up into something that is going to be hugely impactful. And what a meaningful thing for all of our friends and family members that are in the state of Israel right now that need that beacon of light to be able to power through.
Yeah, absolutely. Betzy, what can we do?
One, there's our partners at the San Diego Jewish Federation are raising funds right now to support our sister region. For 25 years, we've had a relationship with an area called Shar HaNegev, which is really ground zero of this horrific massacre, and we have lost so many friends. Their infrastructure, the physical infrastructure, is totally destroyed. But in addition to that, Hamas killed their leadership. And so their human infrastructure is also destroyed. So the planning, the things that they're going to have to do to rebuild, it's unbelievable. So visit Jewish in San Diego and please give generously if you're able to. The other thing and the most important thing that you can do is get involved at the J. A lot of people think, you have to be a member. You don't have to be a member to do the things that we do at the J. We would love for you to be a member, and that's a great way to support our work. But you can buy a ticket to a show. You can come and watch a film. You can send your child to camp, and you don't have to be a member of the J. And yet, when people choose membership, what that does is elevate their entry point into really feeling all of the depths and all of the ways that we build community. And so come, be a part of what we're doing. And equally as important, if you see something that we are doing that you would like to do in your neighborhood, because, we're in the sort of central coastal La Jolla area,
right.
But, and you see something that you like and you want us to do it where you are, call us. The JCC is built on both a consumer model, which is like we develop a program and we sell it to you. And we're also built on a prosumer model, which is you tell us something that feels important and meaningful to you, and we figure out how to make that happen for people. We call that programming that we do outside of the J called the Jayborhood. So it's building your Jewish neighborhood. And just the way that we do at the J, we invite every person of all faiths to be a part of it. The thing that I would also say, and I think this is really important to say because I think there's misperceptions a lot about, who uses the JN in San Diego, about San Diego, period, which is, there are many people that are a part of our work that financially live with financial insecurity, and we never turn anyone away for their inability to pay to be a part of our work. So please, if you know somebody that really could use a little bit of community, a little bit of warmth or whatever it is, and there's financial barriers to that, our community through both individual philanthropy and beyond, we award, I would say, close to $250,000 in financial assistance to the community to give accessibility to the things that they need.
Yeah. Well stated. What's the website? How people get a hold of you guys?
It's pretty easy. LF, Lawrence Family, JCC, Jewish Community Center.org. LFJCC.org. You can check out all of the programming and all of the things that you might want to do and engage at the J.
Well, listen, our hearts are with you. And as I mentioned before, Charles and I are more than happy if there's some remote podcasts you'd like us to do at the center during these times. We're going to gin that up. And we'll sit down and chat with you offline, of course, of what that looks like. Have some maybe meaningful speakers on the podcast and talking about what's going on. Consider it a done deal.
We would love that. And I think hearing the voices directly from our community, which is what your show is all about, right, I think would be a powerful way to express the both diversity and strength of our community in this moment. Thank you, Drew.
You bet. Consider that a done deal. We've been chatting with Betzy Lynch, CEO of Lawrence Family Jewish Community Center, joined by her colleague, Adam Nicoli, Senior Director of Partnerships. I'm Drew Schlosberg, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight in the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 17th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.